Hello, everyone. Just a friendly reminder that you can watch the podcast live and interact with us and other chatters on twitch.tv/convictedtoast. Enjoy the podcast.
My Arrakis, my Dune. I told Keegan I was going to start with that. So basically today we just kind of went through from 1973 to now, the last 50 years of cinema, and we tried to pick one movie for each year that was like our favorite of that year, one that kind of defines that year. There's a couple of mine, and I'm sure Keegan has a couple on his that maybe could be argued didn't define that year, but there are personal favorites. And as
Yeah.
always, this is a what is it? What's the difference between subjective and objective? I forget. Whatever. You know what? It's our fucking opinion.
So
That's
objective
all that
is like
matters.
the larger opinion. Subjective is like your take.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it's subjective.
Yeah.
This list is very subjective. It's just what we enjoy. There's going to be some of your favorite movies. Certain years may not be on here. That's okay. These are just ones that we have personally enjoyed. My dog is like barking his ass off right now. Um, so we're gonna just do like a brief little thing about each movie as we go through, and whenever we get to one that really means a lot to us, we're going to talk a little bit more in detail about it. So Keegan, would you like to kick us off with 1970?
All right. So there is actually a couple of years where there were movies that I haven't like personally seen, but going over like the history of the film, I kind of see that as one that really defines the medium, especially for some genres as well. So for me, 1973, I have The Exorcist, which I haven't seen personally, but it's still referenced to this day, and people still talk about it, so I have to put it on there.
I also have The Exorcist as my 1973 pick. There was a lot of stuff that I was looking at for 1973, but nothing really comes close to The Exorcist. The Exorcist absolutely defined horror. It defined what a horror movie could be. Still to this day, it's probably the scariest horror movie I've ever seen. It's the only one that makes me feel genuinely unsettled and like feel like a sense of dread. And a lot of horror movies now, and even a few years after this and before this too, relied on jump scares and cheap tactics. The Exorcist just relies on creeping you the hell out
Yeah.
with its characters and its themes and the music. It's one of the best horror movies ever made. So that's probably why we both have it for our 1973 pick.
Yep.
So, Mr. Toast, your 1974.
This is largely due to the fact that this is a movie that you could not make today, and it's still absolutely hilarious. No matter who you are, you're gonna laugh at it. It's Blazing Saddles.
Yeah, Blazing Saddles is God. It is one of the best comedies of all time, and it really says a lot to me that a lot of people, uh, you know, have that idea that like you can't make this today. And the thing is, like, I feel like people really miss the idea of Blazing Saddles. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Especially like a lot of younger audiences go into Blazing Saddles and they miss it. All of the people in the town that are racist towards Bart are are idiots. They're literally depicted as idiots. Gene
yeah.
Wilder even says so in the movie. They're all morons, which is it's awesome. It's a great satire. It's one of Mel Brooks's best films. Um, I had that one as my pick for 1974. I had two honorable mentions. The Texas Chainsaw Massacre, just incredible. Great start to some slasher stuff. That one also very unsettling. A lot of older horror movies. That one is very unsettling because it's filmed like a documentary. It really feels like one of the kids is just holding the camera as they go along, and there's not really a whole lot of noise. It's very quiet, not a lot of music. Very good. And the other one is The Godfather Part 2. Yes, I put Blazing Saddles above The Godfather Part 2. And Egan, your 1975 pick.
All right, so 75 was a hard year for me, but I went purely based off of a movie that like I don't think it matters who you are. I think you can enjoy it. I picked Jaws.
Jaws, what a great pick. I just watched a shark movie today, in fact, and it was a piece of shit and reminded me how great Jaws is.
You can't do shark movies anymore. Everybody's trying to like up the ante.
No,
It's just even Jaws could not do Jaws.
nope, none of the Jaws sequels even touch it. Sharknado though. I mean, Sharknado's up there. But yeah, no, I saw the Meg 2 today as a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jaws. I missed Jaws when I was looking at films that came out in 1975, or that would have been an honorable mention. My pick for 1975 is Dog Day Afternoon. Great film with Al Pacino. It's a botched robbery. Whole movie kind of takes place in this bank. There's a hostage situation going on, really ahead of its time, and it was based on a real incident that occurred. That makes it very interesting.
Right.
1976. You go ahead. I have a gut feeling that we both have
I think
the
we
same one
do.
for 76. Yeah.
Because it's absolutely a masterpiece. You can watch this any day, but the best time to watch it, it's 3 a.m., rainy night, Taxi Driver.
Yes, sir. Taxi Driver, best film of 1976. There's nothing that either of us could say that hasn't been said a million times about Taxi Driver. It's one of Scorsese's best films. Stands up to this day, one of the best character-driven pieces of media ever. Travis Bickle is such an interesting character.
Yeah.
It's done super well. I'm gonna take a quick second to read the chat. Papa Fish says, "I love Meg 1 and 2." Strawberries and Sammy says, "I've never seen Jaws.
We'll have to fix that.
watch Jaws. Yeah, I'll watch Jaws with you." Easily the best movies that recently came out. Yeah. Oh my god. 1977. We did talk about this before stream. To be fair,
Yeah.
for 77, but hot take from both of us. I would say
Yeah.
for 1977, we're both picking Racerhead. Very hot take, especially because A New Hope came out that year. But um, Star Wars. We were talking about this before the podcast. Star Wars is very like special in a technical aspect. Like it's technically driven. A lot of its contributions are very technical with special effects and things. The plot is kind of just things that you've seen before, but Eraserhead.
Yeah.
It's something else entirely.
Like, so when I think Star Wars, like it definitely does a lot like uh for like special effects at the time, which has increased in the years. And it's done a lot for sci-fi as a whole, I think. The only issue is I feel like it's hard for a lot of things to, capture that same thing, uh that same thing with sci-fi at least.
Yeah, it's very difficult. And you were talking about Taxi Driver being like a perfect movie to turn on at like 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Eraserhead is a great movie to turn on at 3 in the morning. You wake up the next day and you're like, man, did I dream that? Or was
Yeah.
that actually in the movie?
Yeah, you put a Eraserhead on, like you have a night where it's like, I can't sleep, and like you just want to throw something on and maybe like hope that like it puts you to sleep. Eraserhead, you're not gonna sleep. You're just gonna sit for it, like, what is going on?
Yeah, I had you watch Eraserhead,
Yeah.
and I've seen it a couple times myself. What are your thoughts on Eraserhead? We can pause for a second.
Okay.
Talk about this
It's
for a little bit.
such an interesting concept. Because if I'm not mistaken, the director largely based it on like his own fears of like parenthood.
Yeah.
So by doing this like kind of storytelling focusing on this very malformed baby and like what it does to him as a person is very, very interesting.
Yeah, the fear of fatherhood. Oh, it's excellent. It's an excellent. Um, so we're up to 1978, almost out of the 70s. Egan, what do you have for your 1978 film?
So we talked about how some of these films can define a genre. So I chose Halloween as it is largely considered to be like one of the best slashers of its time, and even now, it's aged gracefully.
God, I could talk about Halloween for hours. That was also my 78 pick.
Yeah.
It's just he did so much, and you go back and you watch it, especially if like Halloween isn't the first slasher you've seen, and you go back and you watch it after seeing like Friday the 13th and different things like that, you get surprised. There's like no blood. There's no gore. John Carpenter doesn't rely on gross out tactics or jump scares. He just creeps you out, and his score and his direction,
Yeah,
it's great.
it's still one of the most iconic theme songs of any franchise.
It he literally created a theme song for a holiday.
Yeah. The only thing I have to say about it is that I really wish we got the alternate timeline where the anthology series happened, but
Yeah, I agree. I was debating on putting Season of the Witch on here, but I
yeah.
didn't for a few years from now.
Yeah.
All right, 1979. What is your pick?
79. So 79 was one of the years where I couldn't really find a film that I've seen that stood out. I had to go with Alien though.
Oh, Alien. I had two for 79, and Alien wasn't even one of them. I thought about it.
Got a posture check from Papa Fish here, so
Yeah, no, I'm trying to check mine as well. Um, yeah, and Alien, that's a good pick. I had Apocalypse Now for mine,
yeah.
just because it's one of the greatest war movies of all time.
It's
It's
been on
such a
my list
phenomenal
forever
film.
and I still haven't gotten to it yet.
There are so many iconic lines from it too that just have lived on through the years. You know, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Charlie Don't Surf.
Yeah.
Like every piece of war material has like war media, Call of Duty, everything has referenced Apocalypse Now. It is just such a great movie. Francis Ford Coppola put a lien on his house in order to get it made. Like it is truly a work of passion. And for my like honorable mention, I put Monty Python's Life of Brian. Really good. Um, parody, or not parody, but like take on religion.
Yeah.
All right, Keegan, we are officially to the 80s.
All right.
What what have you got for 1980?
Uh I don't know if anybody expected this one to be on my list or not. It is
Ooh.
Airplane.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. That's a
Such
good
a
pick.
fantastic comedy. So it's such simplistic comedy too. Like it doesn't do anything that's insanely elaborate. It just focuses on making you laugh.
Exactly. It's very dry, very cut and dry, and every single frame of that movie is a joke.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. My pick for 1980 is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining,
Okay.
based on Stephen King's novel, of course. We've both had a lot of horror, it seems like,
Yeah.
but the 70s were a really big decade for horror. I
Yeah,
feel like the
because
80s you're not going to see as much.
it feels like before that we never really like in history, horror didn't really like start getting its stride until 70s and the 80s.
Yeah, I mean, we had bursts, like we had the Universal monsters in the 30s, but then it kind of died down in the 40s, 50s. We got Hitchcock and Night of the Living Dead in the 60s, but the 70s and then into the 80s was really like the golden era for horror. And it started in the 70s with these pieces that everything wanted to be in the 80s. Everything wanted to be The Shining or The Exorcist or Halloween. Everything had to be
Right.
one of those three movies, which it's just a testament to how great those movies are and how influential they are of the genre.
Exactly.
1981. I have a gut feeling we both have the same one.
I think we do. I have Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Oh man, that's yep. Same here. We both have yep. We both have that one. And it's such an awesome film. It such a great adventure movie. Spielberg and Lucas working together, man. Harrison Ford. It is just a classic.
Yeah.
There, I challenge anyone to watch Raiders of the Lost Ark and not feel something.
Yeah. Additionally, I do think we need to take a second and debunk the writers of The Big Bang Theory. If you take Indiana Jones out of the movie, they do not find the Ark. They're digging in the wrong site the entire time. He finds it for
Yeah.
him.
They also don't get it back to the museum without him.
Yeah.
Um, so for 1982, what do you have?
I want you to take a slight guess.
Is it Blade Runner?
It is not. I haven't seen Blade Runner.
Oh, okay. See, Blade Runner is my runner-up.
Okay.
Um,
It's
me
another one that
too.
I haven't actually watched yet. I know everything about it, beyond like special effects, everything. Haven't actually watched it.
I don't
It
know.
is The Thing.
Oh yeah, John Carpenter's The Thing. Yeah, that's a good one. Another horror-defining masterpiece there.
Yep.
I picked a horror movie too. This one is definitely very subjective because Blade Runner The Thing should be number one. I picked Creepshow. Creepshow is the baby of Stephen King and George Romero. It's 5 short stories in a movie, and each one's different than the last. And they're all creepy. They're funny. It's goofy. The whole movie's told like a comic book. Like in between the story, the pages open and you see like different panels. So good.
Yeah,
It's
I
so
actually
good.
didn't know George Romero worked on that.
Yeah, George Romero, he directed it and he wrote half the stories, and Stephen King wrote the other half.
Okay.
Yeah, it's also it's literally their baby. They made it together. They both had this like it's literally the Lucas and Spielberg. They both loved 40s adventure serials.
Yeah, it's
Like
crazy to
we're
me because like that is two of like the greatest minds of horror, like matching up right there.
they both had a love for 50s like schlocky horror comics,
Yeah.
and they just got together and they did Creepshow, and it's awesome. I'm gonna say by 1983 real quick. And then you could say yours. I couldn't find one for 1983. I
I
could have put
also
Return of
struggled
the
with
Jedi.
83, so
Yeah, 83 was rough. I don't know why. The rest of the 80s weren't a big problem for me, but 83 was rough. I put Scarface. I haven't seen it. I just observed that as the best film of that year. There's just nothing else that I could see that even
yeah.
compared.
So for me, I wanted to put Scarface because I do acknowledge that it is a masterpiece of film, but I haven't seen it myself either. I had to go with the one that I actually have seen, and I went with The Outsiders.
Oh, I didn't know that was 83.
Yeah.
Dang it. That's a good one. That's a good one. I should have. That's up there.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen it. I think I was still in middle school, maybe like early high school.
I didn't watch it when I was in middle school, but I was at a different school for something and they were doing The Outsiders and it was awesome. I wish we did it.
Right.
84.
I do
This
want to
was
take a quick sec,
oh good.
and I do want to shout out Jedi Greg and Papa Fish for the follow. You guys are both awesome for that.
Yes.
And
Thank you both.
yes, we can continue on, but I did want to acknowledge the follows there.
Thank you both so much. It means the world. Um 84 was the hardest year for me to
I agree entirely. I saw the list for 84, and I scrolled through, and I went, "Oh my
oh,
God, there are so many masterpieces on this list."
I'm convinced 84 was just the craziest year in history. You had Reagan Bush. I
Yeah,
mean, you had like arguably one of the best years for film
yeah,
in terms of blockbusters and things like that. I mean, it was 3 of the biggest franchises ever. 2 of them had their first movie this year, and one of them had a sequel. That is Temple of Doom, Terminator. My pick, Ghostbusters. Ghostbusters is an amazing spooky comedy. It shouldn't work at all. You got Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd in a horror movie, kind of horror, kind of comedy, very goofy, very dry. It had no right to work at all, and now it's like, again, that theme from Halloween. It's one of the most iconic
yeah.
soundtracks of
Like
all
I'm
time.
pretty sure everybody in chat can hear it in their head right now.
Even if you've never seen the movie, you're
Yep,
just like humming along to it. You heard it at a Halloween party. Your mom has it as a ringtone. You
yep.
heard it.
All right, so for 84, I picked one that uh, is every time I've watched it, it's just, I don't know, there's something about it that really draws me in, and I just have an absolute blast watching it every time. Red Dawn.
Oh man, Red Dawn was 84 too. What a fucking
What a
year.
year, am I right?
It's the year that created PG-13.
Yeah,
Yep. Gremlins also came out that year.
yeah. Also,
Crazy.
a quick throwback to 77. Uh, the fact that Star Wars came out and the French were still using the guillotine for execution, that's wild to me. Anyway,
Bro, I didn't expect that at all.
yeah.
Um, 19, 1985. Um, this was a tough one. This is a tough one. You go first, because this one I'm still not even confident in my pick.
Mine might be a little bit controversial, but it's a franchise I love, and the first one still like holds a special place in my heart. I picked Back to the Future.
Is it the first one?
It
Is the
is.
first one 85?
Yep.
That's very fair. That's very fair.
Like that's a
Mine
movie that
are
kind of defined that year.
the three that like I was fighting over were like completely fucking different. I had Come and See, which is a Russian World War II movie. That wasn't my pick, but like it's like one of the grisliest war movies ever made. Martin Scorsese's After Hours is a great wild movie, and the one I have to go with is Return of the Living Dead. I still believe strongly to this day it's the best zombie movie ever made. It is excellent. The zombies are the biggest threat that they've ever been in any movie. You literally can't kill them. You chop them into pieces, you smash their head, the pieces keep. There's
Yeah.
nothing you can do. You're doomed. And I love Return of the Living Dead because it has that horror comedy aspect to it. It just feels like it was just ripped right out of the 80s with that soundtrack. Everything about Return of the Living Dead is just so good.
We have
Man, chat's lighting
AFK
up for
Gaming
Return
in
of the Living
chat
Dead.
saying, "God, I love trash."
Have you seen it?
Yeah,
I can't remember.
yeah,
Okay, you've seen yeah, trash, and then Sam saying it's fan fucking tastic. Yeah,
yep.
Return of the Living Dead is just. What have you got for 19?
For 86, I had to do another comedy. 86 was another hard year for me. But scrolling through the listings, I did find one. I was very young when I initially watched it, and thinking back on, I have very fond memories. I have Three Amigos.
That's great. That's fuck. I forgot to put. I should have put Caddyshack somewhere on this list. Making me think of all these great comedies, and I was sitting here thinking about dramas.
Yeah.
And Three Amigos.
Yeah, I really do think like end of the day, if I throw in a comedy, I'm having a good time, you know?
No, I agree with you. I should have put Caddyshack on there somewhere. I vibe with Caddyshack. Um, Steve Martin and Martin Short just have such great chemistry too.
Yeah.
Even to this day, they're doing that Hulu show, Murders in the Building or whatever with Selena Gomez. Their chemistry is
Yeah.
just
I
awesome.
absolutely love the there's a bit that they do in the movie where they're going through the desert and like they're out of water except for I think it's I can't remember which one of them, but one of them still has water in their canteen, and they're sitting there just they're drinking it, spitting it out, swishing it around their mouth, spitting it out, just pouring some of it out, and they're just staring at him, just like dying for a drink of water.
That's awesome. My pick for 86 is another Stephen King adaptation. This is the third Stephen King related thing that I've gotten on this list. It's Stand By Me, which is very different than a lot of his other work. Have you ever seen Stand By Me?
I have not had the pleasure of seeing Stand By Me.
It's awesome. It's not like a lot of Stephen King stuff. It is one of the best coming of age movies I've ever seen. It's basically these four like teenage or they're not even teenagers, they're like preteens, and they're going through the woods. They find a dead body on the train tracks. They're like, man, if we report this dead body, we'll be rich and famous. And their parents are like, where are my kids? And they're just like walking through the forest, and then this group of like older kids is like trying to hunt them down. You've heard the song "Stand By Me," right?
Yeah.
For the movie,
Yeah, I absolutely love that song.
yeah, it plays at the end. It's such a great movie. It's very sweet. I
I
love
uh
it.
I actually tear up hearing Stand By Me not because of the film Stand By Me, but because of Final Fantasy 15. There's a cover of it at the beginning and during the end credits, and it hits. And the first time you hear it, you're like, okay. And then you finish the game and it hits again.
It's literally that's a mirror because it plays at the beginning of Stand By
Oh
Me,
wow.
and
Okay.
it plays at the end of Stand By Me, and it takes on a completely different meaning.
Yeah,
That's awesome. Life imitates art, and art imitates art, I guess.
I guess so.
What have you got for 87?
1987. 87 was another year where there were a couple that, really stood out, but I had to go with Full Metal Jacket.
My pick two.
Yep.
God, what a great movie. The first hour of that movie is unbelievable.
Yeah, there's a lot of people that absolutely love to watch that movie, and I've talked to a lot of people that say that they could usually cut it off after, the major like plot point. If you haven't seen it,
Yeah,
I
when
would
the
avoid
when
any
the movie
spoilers.
completely switches direction.
Yeah, and I can agree with that to an extent, but also seeing the actual war aspect of the movie is just like it's a whole different thing. It's very surreal.
I see, hearing you say that, I gotta rant now because I used to be like that. I was such a huge fan of the first hour, and I hated the second half. I was like, why did he do this? And I was like that for years, and I finally rewatched it last year, and then I watched it again this year twice. I've seen it twice this year, and all three times I saw it, I was like, that second hour is like the things that he does.
Yeah,
Like the first hour is really, really good, but that second hour, just some of the ways he depicts Vietnam and the casualness of it,
yeah.
and like, oh man, it's so realistic. And the ending, man, as soon as Paint It Black hits, you're like, yep, this is a masterpiece.
Yeah. And Sam did want to point out that she will cry because we did not mention Spaceballs.
Oh, is Spaceballs 87? Spaceballs is a great parody, but
It
Full
is a
Metal
great
Jacket
parody.
is like one of Kubrick's best films. Um, I'm gonna say my 88.
Okay.
I don't know if you have the same thing.
88
I
was
don't
a
even,
hard year for me as well. So,
88 was so easy for me.
really. Okay.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it. Movie I'm about to say is this director's best movie. There are no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I know he did Batman. That's a giveaway. It's Beetlejuice. Beetlejuice is one of the best like Halloween movies ever. It doesn't matter how old you are, you will love Beetlejuice. Like you turn it on for like an 8-year-old, he's like, "This shit's rocking!" Like Beetlejuice comes flying out of there, and he's like doing the Kmart thing and
Yeah.
everything. And Beetlejuice is such a good time. Tim Burton, like he is in the zone here. It is awesome, and it's Michael Keaton's best performance of his. He's amazing.
So, my pick, it was a hard choice between Beetlejuice and for me, Die Hard.
Oh, Die Hard, the best non-Christmas movie to ever Christmas.
Yep. Not a Christmas movie, but it is set during Christmas, so we don't go
It
want
is
to go into
true.
that debate.
No, Bruce Willis ended
Yeah,
that
it's a
debate.
Bruce Willis movie.
That's what he said. It's a
Yep.
fucking Bruce Willis movie. He's
Yep.
right. He's a Bruce. I'd love Die Hard. Die Hard would have been an honorable mention for me, except I feel like, and I guess it's not fair to hold it against Die Hard, but Die Hard became the blueprint for like every single action movie that
Yeah.
Jason Statham ever started.
Yep.
Um, and other people too, but like Die Hard was the blueprint. But I mean, that doesn't stop it from being a great,
Yeah.
great action movie. 1989, rough year for me. Rough year to pick. This was one of the hardest years. What do you
I
have?
I can agree with that as well.
What do you have?
I have The Last Crusade.
That was one of my runners up.
Yep.
Yeah. You When I was a kid, I watched Indiana Jones. And The Last Crusade, I didn't like it as much as the other two. I just There was something about it I just couldn't get into it as much as Temple of Doom or Raiders. And as I'm older and I kind of understand the relationship more between Indy and Father, and I go back and I watch that movie, oh, this is
Out of the franchise, it is my favorite. So,
that's very fair. It's always been close between that one and Raiders for me. I still really love Temple of Doom. The new two, they didn't happen.
yeah,
Um,
we forgot those.
yeah, especially the newest one. But yeah, man, Last Crusade. It's such a great movie, and there I know how much you love this movie. We've talked about it before, and it's such a great thing because of the chemistry that not just Indy and his dad have, but that Spielberg and Lucas have.
Yeah.
Because Spielberg is the heart of every Indiana Jones movie. He does the characters. He does that. Lucas and all of them just focuses on the mythology. He's all about the mythology. He's about the Grail.
So I
What?
was
Sorry,
reading
say something
chat.
funny. It's a great movie. So glad it was the last Indiana Jones movie. Um, so it's just, man, they have such great chemistry, and Lucas focusing on the mythology and Spielberg like So basically, Lucas is like, this is the Holy Grail. Like, this is important. And Spielberg is like, Grail is important, but not as important as a relationship with your father. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is such a great duology. He redeemed a hydrate, so I'm gonna
Yeah, I
hydrate.
did that. I'll redeem my stretch at the end of the podcast. Don't let me forget.
I won't. For me, it was not Last Crusade. That was my runner-up. I had so many for this year, and I cheated. I did cheat. There's two that I highlighted.
Okay.
Um, one is for a very specific reason. Harry Met Sally was a runner-up for me. Really good romantic comedy. The first one I picked was Batman. Michael Keaton's Batman, another Tim Burton movie. In my opinion, 80, 88, 89, best years for Tim Burton. Beetlejuice and then Batman back to back.
Yep.
Fantastic. And then Batman Returns right after that, then Mars Attacks. He had a great run there. And then he ruined it with a bunch of remakes in the 2010s. But he had a great run in the late 80s and early 90s. And I won't talk too much about Batman, but the other one I picked is Christmas Vacation. This movie means so much to me. I watched it on repeat as a kid. I had the DVD. I remember the scene where he's like cussing out in the living room. I had that memorized, and I'd go and recite it to my parents, and they'd scream at me, "Why are you saying that?" I had the whole scene memorized. It's so good. Such a great Christmas movie because everybody watches it and you're like, "Man, those Griswolds, man, what a bunch of lunatics." And then you're like looking at yourself in the mirror and you're like, "Oh, we're kind of like that around Christmas too." Like, it's not the perfect family. Like, that's not how families are. Families
Yeah.
have flaws. They have crazy shit that happens. A squirrel gets in the tree every once in a while, you know? Like, it's such a feel good movie. I love every year around Christmas I have to watch it. It is one of my favorite Christmas movies.
Yeah.
1990.
I imagine you have the Steelbook for Christmas Vacation as well.
I do. I do. I have three copies of it. I have the Blu-ray now, I have the Steelbook, and I have the 4K.
Oh wow.
I
So
guarantee you we have the same for 1990.
very likely. It's it's not Goodfellas. No, it's Goodfellas.
Yeah, Goodfellas is, oh my god. It's Martin Scorsese. It's hard to say it, but this is objectively. I'm getting them right now. Objectively, Goodfellas is his magnum opus. Goodfellas started so much.
Yeah.
Goodfellas is the reason Scorsese is this superstar director. I mean, Goodfellas is just such a great portrait of mob life.
There's a reason
It
it's
is
been parodied
incredible.
so many times.
Yeah, even something as great as Boogie Nights uses the foundation that Goodfellas set up for, like introducing these characters, the tracking shots where you're going
Yeah.
through and you're like, that's Tony, that's Andy, and like, it's awesome. It is the acting, the directing, the writing, the music. God, the music in that movie is just so good. Every time I watch Goodfellas, I feel like I'm in that time.
Right.
Every time. You're a funny guy. I'm what? That's awesome.
Yeah.
So for 1991, what do you have?
91. That was one I struggled with a little bit too. But I went with one that I can like throw on and just kind of have a fun time with. I went with Terminator 2.
That's a good pick for 91. That is a good pick. I hate James Cameron, but that's a good pick.
Yeah, we don't
Terminator
talk
2
about
is
James Cameron.
yeah,
It
James
it
Cameron's
wasn't
the
even his
fucker.
idea. He just directed it.
No, just directed it. Mine is also a feel-good movie. I could throw it on whenever, and relax. It's Silence of the Lambs. Um, it
I
is
haven't seen Silence of the Lambs. I saw
okay.
it,
That's
I was going through the list and I saw it, and I was like, I've heard so much about it, haven't seen it, but I can't like put it on the list without having seen it at least, you know.
that's probably why you didn't get that joke. Silence of the Lambs is very intense. The whole movie is very intense. There's a lot of very close-up camera angles. Silence of the Lambs is just such a great movie. Jodie Foster, God, I'm blanking on his name. Anthony Hopkins as Hannibal Lecter. It's so good. One of my favorite shots in this movie. me- It, this is weird to say, but it kind of puts you in the shoes of what it's like to be a woman filing for like a position, like getting a job.
Hmm.
Jodie Foster is talking to the FBI director, and the camera is just positioned in such a way that the situation is not tense. but you just feel so tense, like you're in her shoes, and he's just like looking at her, and he's like, "So you want this job?" Like, it's awesome. It's such a great movie. It is such a great movie. Uh, everybody, couple people are quoting Silence Slams in the chat.
Yeah.
Would you do me? I would fuck me. I'd fuck me hard. That's such a good line. 92. I feel like we've got the same one for 92, but I'll
It's
let you go
very
first.
likely. It's an introduction for this director, writer director,
Yep. Yep.
Reservoir Dogs.
Hell yeah, man. Reservoir Dogs. Oh, it's such a great movie. Fuck Harvey Weinstein for trying to get him to cut the ear scene.
Yeah. One thing I'm not sure of that I'm gonna ask this. Did we ever find
Okay.
out if he did uh the script for like a screenplay or not a screenplay, like an actual like Broadway production?
It's been adapted.
Okay.
He didn't personally do it, but people have done it on
Yeah.
stage. He is working on like a stage version of, I think, that and the Hateful Eight to do it on stage. You could do Hateful Eight on stage.
Yeah.
That one wouldn't be tough at all.
I
And
mean
Reservoir Dogs is
the best thing about it is that they're both they're both like they take place in like one singular setting, so it works for that.
I think that's Lincoln that just commented, "I don't tip." That's awesome. Looking for the cool guy club, is this it?
It sure is.
Well, welcome to the stream, everybody. Welcome, Lincoln. First time chatter. It's awesome. Yeah, man, Reservoir Dogs. What a great movie. It's now that he's here, that's one of Lincoln's favorite movies. I know him.
Yeah.
I know Larry too well. That's one of his favorites.
That's one of the
Awesome.
ones I have the steelbook for. So
I feel like the next few years they're gonna be like 93. What do you got? I guarantee we've got the same one.
so I've actually only seen parts of this movie, but I already know like how good it is. And I think we both have the same thing. So,
I think so.
Schindler's List.
Yep. Wow. Wow, man. No historical film has ever been done like this. Just when you watch it, you don't even think about how hard it would have been to film this. He rebuilt everything. He made it just oh my god. It would take me like we're trying to cut this like keep this short. I could talk for hours about it.
Yeah.
Schindler's List is such an important film. I feel like everybody should watch this movie. They should have to. It should be a requirement for in high school. You should have to watch Schindler's List because if you don't remember your past, you will always be doomed to repeat it. It is it's not just a great movie. It's a great historical piece that it teaches you so much. It's amazing. Schindler's List is so beautiful. The music, the art direction. It's weird to say that about a Holocaust movie that's beautiful, but it is. Every shot of the movie is a work of art.
Yeah.
Steven Spielberg poured his heart and soul into Schindler's List, and it is so good. One of the best movies of all time. 94.
94. Let me see. So it was actually a little bit hard for me to choose between the two.
Oh,
Yeah, I had two for this one.
okay.
So I had to go with Shawshank, but have Pulp Fiction as number two easily.
I respect that wholeheartedly. Both are phenomenal movies. I picked Pulp Fiction because I could never pick Shawshank. I mean I love Shawshank, but Pulp Fiction's like my favorite movie, so
Yeah.
I couldn't do that. But Shawshank is that's not underselling Shawshank. Shawshank is a masterpiece. The chemistry between Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman is so good,
Yeah.
and Pulp Fiction, it's Pulp Fiction. Like both of these movies, like we don't have to talk about them. Like
Yeah.
everybody
They
knows.
speak for themselves pretty much.
Yeah, it's just awesome. Wasn't it almost directed by someone else?
I
Oh,
think
Schindler's
yeah.
List. Yeah, Martin Scorsese almost directed it. Um, it was really close. They traded. Um, Scorsese was going to direct Schindler's List, and Spielberg was going to do Cape Fear, and they traded back. They were like, "No, this is my passion project, and that's your passion project. We can't do this."
Yeah.
Like, and Scorsese was like, "I'm an Italian guy. Like, I can't make a movie like this. Like, that's you. This is your heritage. You have to do this." We have a lot of chatters. My boy, Pulp, my top 3 of all time. I agree. It's such a great movie. Damn, Jimmy, this podcast is some serious gourmet shit. Thank you.
Yeah.
1995. I showed you this movie. So I'm gonna be very disappointed if it isn't your
It
95.
is my number one.
Yeah, I thought so.
I'll just start off by saying The Strangest Thing.
The strangest thing, the greatest trick the devil ever pulled was convincing the world that he didn't exist, and like that, he's gone. The
Yep.
Usual Suspects. I think it's fair to call this movie underrated. Not a lot of people talk about The Usual Suspects.
Like
Like
it
not as much
definitely
as
I've
like a
seen it
lot of
pop up
other.
on the list, but I've never really talked to anybody about the movie.
No, it's kind of underground. And I know Bryan Singer's got whatever going on, but like Usual Suspects is such a great movie, and it's one of the best cinematic twists ever, like ever put to film. It's so good, and it doesn't feel forced. It feels just right when the twist hits. You're like, oh man, and you feel different at the end. It definitely hits different. You can't talk about it in fear of spoiling the best twist of all time. Very true.
Yeah.
Very true. It's such a great twist. Number 96. I know what your pick is. Your pick is my runner-up.
Okay.
I'm gonna
I
let you
do have
rant.
two for this one as well.
Okay.
So Scream is my number one for this year. However, I did have to do an honorable mention for From Dusk Till Dawn.
Oh yeah, From Dusk Till Dawn 96. I didn't have that as my honor. I had Scream as my honorable mention. For me, it was Sling Blade. I love Sling Blade. Sling Blade is also very underrated. It's Billy Bob Thornton. He plays a mentally handicapped man who goes and he lives with his family. And he killed his parents when he was younger. And it's kind of like this story of you don't know if he's going to be rehabilitated. You don't know if he's adjusting correctly to society. Such a great movie. But I'm going to let you go off on Scream because
Okay.
I know you and Scream.
Yeah. So when it comes to genres that define or films that define the genre, you can't not talk about Scream. It takes everything that like every stereotype, every piece of storytelling, like every blueprint from horror, and puts it under a microscope. And I'm not gonna go so far. Actually, I'm gonna go so far as to say that it is Wes Craven's masterpiece, his magnum opus.
I agree. I love Nightmare on Elm Street, but Scream is just such a great satire of the genre. And it's crazy. Be Wes Craven and redefine horror 3 times. He redefined it with The Hills Have Eyes. He redefined it with A Nightmare on Elm Street. 4 times, because New Nightmare was pretty much
Yeah,
what Scream would become.
yeah.
And then he did Scream. I mean, he's just a genius through and through. He is an incredible, incredible man. Um, got a couple. Sling Blade is so good. More people need to see it, bro. Sling Blade is so good. Sling Blade is just man, do you remember, you guys yeah, Exorcist, Halloween, Scream. We also had The Shining, and
Yeah.
Ghostbusters, Beetlejuice, a lot of horror and horror comedies. Do you remember Rick's ringtone? You got any biscuits for sale in there?
Yeah. That's
That's
from
Sling
Sling Blade.
Blade.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
remember you
that's
talking
Sling
about that.
Blade.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
We also have to talk about his other text tone, which was Blazing Saddles. So
Yeah. And the other one where it's like calling himself a Polak or something. I don't remember because he's
yeah,
Polish.
yeah.
It's hilarious. I love Rick. Rick's a good guy. 97.
I think we have the same movie here.
I really hope we do.
It's Boogie Nights.
Yes, it's Boogie Nights. Paul Thomas Anderson's best movie, Boogie Nights. God, it's
Men
such a
in Black was an honorable
phenomenal
mention,
movie.
Dylan. It's an honorable mention.
I didn't have one for 97. There was a couple that I thought about it, but Boogie Nights blows everything out of the water for 97. Boogie Nights is just man, I could watch that movie 100 times, and I love it every single time. The music, Dirk Diggler, make it's just so good. Burt Reynolds, it's such a great movie. I absolutely adore it. It's it's impossible. It's I'm like getting out of breath. It's just such a great movie.
We had to put Air
Um,
Force One in there. Can't forget about Air Force One.
Air Force One, is that the one? Man is hung. Oh, he's talking about Dirk Diggler. Man is hung like a horse. Dirk is the man. Um, Air Force One. That's the one with get the
Harrison
hell off
Ford.
my airplane. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I
yeah.
thought.
Uh,
Um,
and oh my God, I'm forgetting his name. Gary Oldman.
oh yeah, Gary Oldman. Yeah, but Boogie Nights, man, what a great cat. You got John C. Riley there, man. You know, people tell me I look like Harrison Ford. It's it's awesome. Um, 98. I feel like we have the same one for 98.
98. I was split. Uh,
Oh,
I was split.
oh,
So,
okay.
my main one was The Big Lebowski. My honorable mention is The Truman Show.
Oh, I was way off. I had Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas.
Oh, I forgot about it.
Yeah, I had Fear and Loathing. I was gonna say, my shit. What did you say your second one was?
The Truman Show.
Okay, Big Lebowski was my runner-up. Uh, Man, Fear and Loathing is so good. Did you pick? So what was your number one? Was it The Truman Show then?
It's Big Lebowski was my number one with Truman Show as the highlight, but I forgot about Fear and Loathing, so that might have to take number one.
Dude, Fear and Loathing is the best drug movie ever made. That's a weird title to give it, but it's so true. That movie is such a trip. Uh, I don't know. Would you say it's Johnny Depp's this performance? I mean, Jack
I
Sparrow's up there, but
Yeah, I don't know if I'd say it's his absolute best, but it is definitely very, very good.
I'd say like top three.
Yeah, easily top
It's up
three.
there. He mimics Hunter S. Thompson so well. I mean, it's perfect. He is the perfect like rendition of him. Um, Damn it, Donnie, you're out of your element. No, John's talking. I made John, dude. I've made so many people in this chat and on this podcast watch Fear and Loathing. I made you watch it. I made Sam watch it. I made John watch it. I made Trent watch it. I love Fear and Loathing. 1999. I'm gonna let you go first because mine's a controversial pick.
99 that we're on.
Yeah.
Uh, if you know me, you'll expect this one, but it's The Mummy.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Just
That's a
a
really
fun
good one.
action movie, and it kind of takes the same thing, like the same route of like an Indiana Jones movie, but then like turns it on its head with all the like magic and shit, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. The Mummy. That's a good pick. I didn't actually expect that.
Yep.
Well then again I forgot it came out in 99. Um, my pick, very controversial, is American Beauty. And I watched American Beauty for the first time about 2 months ago. And after I finished it, I had like a complete breakdown. I was like, oh my God. Like it reignited my love for film all over again. A lot of people really get that movie twisted because they believe that American Beauty is, it's this piece of media that's Kevin Spacey he loves this younger lady, but it's not really about that. It's about finding the beauty and the meaning in your own life.
We've got a small debate going on in chat here.
It's over two movies we didn't even mention.
Yep.
um I love The Matrix. I would put Matrix as my honorable mention. Actually, The Matrix is so good. We had this school project we had to do in sixth grade where we had to pick a famous American. And I did what are now the Wachowski sisters. At the time when I had the project, I did one of the Wachowski brothers. I love The Matrix. Matrix is one of the first R-rated movies I ever saw that really resonated with me.
Yeah, and it's also been parodied to the point where it is now iconic.
Yeah. 2000. What do you got for 2000?
To no one's surprise, it's American Psycho.
Yep. Yep, me too. I was gonna quote it, but I didn't want you to be like, it's actually like it's like an Indian film or something. I'd be like,
Don't
"Oh,
touch the
bullshit."
watch.
Yeah, don't touch the one. I just need to return some videotapes. Um, I had two American films back to back, American Beauty and American Psycho, but American Psycho, man, Christian Bale. People on set were like, he's the worst actor I've ever seen, and then American Psycho comes out, and it's like, wow, he did such a good job. Willem Dafoe in that movie too, man,
Yeah,
it's so good.
both
Even Jared Leto.
fantastic performances.
Jared Leto gives a good performance too.
Yeah,
2001, my first animated movie.
A Space Odyssey.
No,
Not the right year.
It's my first animated movie on this list, I believe. It is Shrek.
You went with
Shrek.
Shrek? Okay.
I did. I went with Shrek.
Okay. It's for me, I chose one that it's not controversial, but it is definitely like it's a take it or leave it thing. I went with Fellowship of the Ring. So as more so as like the amount of love that Peter Jackson put into creating that trilogy, let alone like specifically Fellowship, for me personally, I think it's the best one. Um, but I don't know, just the amount of passion and the amount of like practical effects, the way it's shot, everything I just enjoy about it.
I completely agree with like what you're saying as like I wish I could enjoy Lord of the Rings more
Yeah.
because I recognize how important it is. It's hard for me to enjoy it. But I do recognize how important those are. 2002. Do we have the
Um,
same one?
I
I feel like we
don't
have the
know.
same one. Really?
You go ahead first.
I got Spider-Man.
Okay. That's an honorable mention for me. Mine was 28
Oh,
Days
okay.
Later.
Oh, that's fair. That's a good pick. Yeah, I had to go with Spider-Man. God, that's so good. Um, both are just so good. That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
Spider-Man for me is just one of the first like great Marvel superhero movies, you
I
know?
think it's one of the greatest for like it's one of the ones that really started superhero movies being taken like as a serious genre.
Great pick. Are you talking about Spider-Man or
28 Days Later.
28 Days Later? I have a feeling he means Spider-Man because it's Lincoln,
I mean, they're
but I'm
both
not
great
sure.
picks. I mean, let's be
They
real.
are. They definitely are. 28 Days Later, man. Awesome. Raimi is the GOAT.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. 2004, we're gonna get there. 2004 is a hard year for me.
Yeah. We're on
Um,
'03 though first, so
'03 had to give it to Kill Bill.
I had an honorable mention at least, so I had Kill Bill as well. Honorable mention was Curse of the Black Pearl.
Versus the Black Pearl, that's a good one. Um,
I
I
will
thought about
say, like, as far as like Curse of the Black Pearl goes, like, or Pirates of the Caribbean, like as a whole, but Curse of the Black Pearl is, in my honest opinion, objectively a perfect film, like in terms of its storytelling.
Versus the Black Pearl is really good. Um, my favorite's At World's End. I adore At World's End.
Okay.
I didn't put it on the list, but I love At World's End. But Curse of the Black Pearl is such a great movie. Um, 2004. This was a really, really, really difficult year,
Yeah.
and it had to come down to personal opinion. Um, you want me to go first, or do you want to go?
Um, I only have two on here, so how many do you have for this year?
At World's End is my favorite too. Yeah, At World's End is just such a great movie. I have four.
Mean Girls.
All four of mine are sequels.
Okay. Well, I have two, and they're both sequels. So.
I have four, and I'm gonna go through the honorable mentions first. I know I saw Maria in the chat. She's gonna be upset it's an honorable mention, but it is my favorite Harry Potter movie. It still made the list. This is an honorable mention. It's Prisoner of Azkaban, the first sequel. Spider-Man 2 is an honorable mention, and Shrek 2 is my favorite of that year, and Kill Bill 2 is
Okay, I forgot Shrek
that
2
was the biggest
and
twist.
Prisoner of
Yeah,
Azkaban came
Shrek
out those
2.
years, but I also had Spider-Man 2 and Kill Bill Volume 2.
Yeah, it really came down to that for me, and for me personally, it came down to Kill Bill and Shrek 2. Those were the two big ones that I was like,
Yeah,
Prisoner of Azkaban is such a great movie, though. Even if it wasn't a Harry Potter movie, God, that would be such a great magic film. The way that movie handles magic and the world is
yeah,
absolutely. Spider-Man 2, Alfred Molina's Doc Ock, all four of those movies. It's so hard to pick from those four, man.
yeah.
It's so hard. Um, God, 2005, I didn't pick one. 2005 was one of my hardest years, and they're all completely different. You go first, because I feel like you got your shit together on 2005.
So 2005, I actually didn't do any honorable mentions. Surprisingly, there were a lot to choose from, but I was very definitive in this one. I went with Revenge of the Sith.
Revenge of the Sith. Yeah, I was gonna guess. Yeah, Revenge of the Sith was one of the four. Man, best Star Wars movie, hands down. Revenge of the Sith is excellent. Excellent. Great sci-fi movie. Man, it's such a great movie. First Star Wars movie I ever saw as well. Mine, I I guess I'll have to pick one after I read them off. I will pick one, promise. But I didn't highlight one because they're all just so close together for me, and they're all so different and beautiful in their own way. Revenge of the Sith, Peter Jackson's King Kong, Brokeback Mountain, and The Devil's Rejects. And it just came down to those four for me. It was just, man, it was so hard. I'm gonna go with Revenge of the Sith as well. But man, that is a very difficult choice to make.
Yeah.
2006. I feel like we have the same one.
Yeah, we probably do. Go ahead and
What
do
do
a
you got?
quote.
Oh, you're putting me on the spot now. I got to think of a quote.
Do the for TV censorship quote.
You be calling us sloppy. Is that what it? Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like
Yep.
you be calling us sloppy. It's The Departed.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no contest in 06 when you got The Departed. There's no contest.
It's every single actor on that film is just phenomenal. Phenomenally acted, very well written, just expertly directed.
It's such a great movie, and Scorsese's first best picture. Yeah, only. But first one, and it's an amazing. 2007, very tough for me between two.
This is actually going to be my first animated movie for this year.
Oh wow,
Yeah. Oh my God, this he's already putting it in there. We know John.
Transformers.
Yeah. So for me, I went with Ratatouille.
Oh, that's a good pick. Good pick for 07. I went with the two I was deciding between are both completely different from Ratatouille. It was No Country for Old Men and There Will Be Blood. And I'm going with There Will Be Blood. Paul Thomas Anderson, great movie. The performances in this movie, Paul Dano especially, it's such a good movie. Such a good movie. I'm just kidding, that's Transformers. 2008. I've got a controversial pick for this one.
I don't think mine's necessarily controversial, but it is another comedy.
What do you got?
Tropic Thunder.
Oh, that's not. I wouldn't say it's controversial.
Yeah, I didn't think it was controversial, but like it is one that I feel like there are people that would put, something above that.
Yeah, but still, that's a good pick. I would say it's a great pick. For me, The Dark Knight is an honorable mention, and Burn After Reading is an honorable mention. But my favorite of 2008 is In Bruges. If you haven't seen it yet, I feel like you would love it. It's Colin Farrell, Brendan Gleeson, same director as Banshees, except this time they're hitmen. It's awesome. It is awesome. They're hitmen who are very bad at their jobs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying Twilight.
It might be Twilight. Who knows?
Yeah, it might be. 2009. I have a sneaking
2009,
suspicion
okay.
we have the same one.
I have an honorable mention, but I do think we have the same for the main.
Okay, what's your honorable mention?
Inglourious Bastards.
That was my main.
What's that?
That was my main.
Okay.
What is your main?
Oh, that is my main. Sorry.
You said that was
yeah,
my
yeah.
honorable mention. I
Oh,
was
my
like,
bad.
oh, you burst
I
my
misspoke.
bubble.
My bad. Okay. My honorable mention is I Love You, Man.
Oh, that's a good one.
That's one of the ones that you could just throw on, and it's just it's so much fun to just watch.
I gotta wait. Pause. I gotta wait.
Okay.
Fantastic Mr. Fox came out in 2009. It's Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Oh.
I completely forgot that came out in 2009. Inglourious Bastards, second place. Fantastic Mr. Fox, first place. I completely forgot. I literally, as I was sitting there, I was like 2009, and then I went to see it when I was 8 on my birthday in
Yeah.
2009, and I was like, oh shit. Yeah, so I guess I'll have two animated movies back to back
Yep.
because my 2010 is an animated movie as well.
Yeah. So 2010, there were honorable mentions. I think I forgot to write them down.
I
Um,
see.
yeah. So all I have is the one that I actually ended up picking, which was Scott Pilgrim versus the World.
I picked Toy Story 3.
Okay.
I don't have very many animated films, but Toy Story 3 had to make the cut. I have never seen Scott Pilgrim versus.
Okay.
So if I had, maybe it would probably be up there, but I have not.
Right. It's that's the movie that introduced me to Edgar Wright and like the way that he directs and shoots film. Uh, it's so unique, and I fell in love with it the first time I saw it, and it's something that uh it's stuck with me. I need to watch more of his work, but I haven't gotten to just yet. But there's something about just the cinematography of Scott Pilgrim that just sends it for me.
Um, sorry, I was responding in the chat. I love Edgar Wright. 2011 was a tough year for me. I'm gonna let you go first.
2011 was also a pretty tough year for me. I had to go with Cabin in the Woods.
Okay. Okay. Um, my honorable mention for 2011 was Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Love that reboot. In my opinion, it's one of the best like approaches to a reboot ever done. That whole trilogy done so well. The motion capture, Andy Serkis's performance as Caesar, great start to the trilogy. But I went with Super 8, the
Okay.
only J.J. Abrams movie that I like. The only one. It's the only good one. I love Super 8. Super 8 to me, when I watch it, it feels like. Have you seen it?
Huh.
It literally is the whole idea of making a movie and what it's like to be a kid and want to make movies. That's what Super 8's about, except there's aliens. But it's really, really good.
Okay.
It is awesome. 2012.
I feel like we probably have the same one on here.
There's no way in hell we don't.
Yeah, I do have an honorable mention, so I'll do that one first for realsies
Go
this
ahead.
time. End of Watch is an honorable mention. Just an absolutely like, I don't know. There's something about watching that movie that is just we got a Prime subscription from Papa Fish. Appreciate that very much.
Awesome. Thank
Um,
you.
but End of Watch it's such a great story, just about like two best friends, and with an absolutely just gut punch of an ending.
I have not seen it, but I've heard really good things. Jake Gyllenhaal's in that, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is.
I've heard good things. Should have picked Transformers 1 for 2007 and 2 for 2000. Don't worry, our 2012 that we're both talking about is Dark of the Moon. Um, so I'm gonna quote the movie that I know we both have.
Okay.
That's the big house. Big Daddy call it that because he's big.
Yeah.
It's Django. It is Django Unchained. God, what a great, great movie.
Yeah.
It is so rewatchable. It's not my favorite Tarantino movie, but I would argue it's his most rewatchable.
Yeah. I definitely agree with that. Like, so I'm pretty sure everybody in existence that's ever been on a plane and has flown multiple times has their airplane movie. Django Unchained is my airplane movie. I will watch
Very
that.
good
If
pick.
I have to fly, that's the movie I'm putting on.
Very, very, very good pick. Django is just so good, man. It is, God, so rewatchable. For 2013, I have two. And for 2013 and 2014, both years, I have two. I'm not changing it. I can't pick one.
Okay.
Sorry. Those are the only 2 years that I couldn't. 2013, I have Wolf of Wall Street and the
Okay.
Dallas Buyers Club.
I also had Wolf of Wall Street.
Yeah, John's airplane movie is Whiplash, which, spoiler alert, is one of my 2014 ones.
That is my 2014 one, so we're
Okay,
gonna
I've
do
got
2013
two
and
tied.
2014 at the same time.
Yeah, we might. I mean, yeah, that's John led us into it. This is John's fault. Um, Dallas Buyers Club is one of the best Matthew McConaughey movies. I feel like everybody knows a bit about Wolf of Wall Street. Um, Dallas Buyers Club is a true story of this guy in the 80s. He contracts HIV, and the drugs that he needs to treat the HIV are just so expensive. Um, the pharmaceutical industry is just uh oh, I'm in trouble. The pharmaceutical industry is just eating people alive, and Matthew McConaughey starts sneaking drugs over the border, and he starts selling them to people who have HIV and AIDS, treat the disease.
Okay.
I every time I've seen this movie, I cry like a baby, and I will say it, it is Jared Leto's best performance. It is the only performance that I could see no other actor ever doing. He plays a transgender woman who is with McConaughey in the movie, like helps him out. And Matthew McConaughey is like, he's not gay. He's very homophobic, and as he starts selling these drugs to these communities, he kind of lessens that aspect about him, and he becomes more open, and it's just such a tearjerker,
Being told to
man.
sit up again, god damn it.
It's such a tearjerker. It's so upsetting. I mean, it's a movie about like selling AIDS medication to AIDS
Yeah.
patients. It's gonna be really sad. And Wolf of Wall Street, George Belfort, baby. I saw Lincoln in the chat. Wolf of Wall Street, baby. I am in big trouble. There are multiple people in the chat yelling at me about Interstellar. I know I need to say
Interstellar,
it.
I will put as an honorable mention for myself. I haven't gotten to finish it. I need to, but what I did watch, I enjoyed.
My 2014, we already said both of ours is Whiplash, but mine is a dead tie between Whiplash and Gone Girl. You ever watch Gone Girl? Don't watch it with a romantic partner. Never do that. It is the worst thing that you could do. If Lincoln's still in the chat, he will verify that. He's seen Gone Girl twice. He knows.
Did he
Never
make that
watch it with.
mistake?
No, you just
Okay, thank
well,
God.
the movie is kind of about this girl disappears, and Ben Affleck is the husband, and he's kind of like blamed for it. And it's I won't say anymore because I don't want to spoil anything, but it man, it watching it with a significant other is just rewatch this. Not yet. Wait, what do you mean not yet?
I think he means he hasn't watched it with a romantic partner just yet.
Oh, not yet. I wouldn't do that. It is Ben Affleck's best role. I agree with you. Ben Affleck is amazing in that movie. And Lincoln, help me out. Who plays his wife? She is absolutely incredible in the movie too. Tyler Perry is in it in a dramatic role.
I'm pretty sure I've seen him dressed as a woman more than I've seen him dressed as a man, so
Well, no. Tyler Perry isn't the wife. Tyler Perry isn't the wife. He plays his lawyer. He plays his lawyer. That is not no. um, man, what's a romantic partner? Rosamund. Yes, Rosamund. She's great. 2015. What do you got?
2015, I had Mad Max Fury Road.
That would be my 2015 if I have seen it, which I have not, but it would be because I know my 2015. I love my 2015 pick. I know it is not Mad Max. My 2015 pick is The Hateful Eight.
Okay, that's an honorable mention for sure.
Yeah, The Hateful Eight, such a great movie. If
Yeah.
I need to watch Mad Max. I need to just like grow up and watch it. I need to just do it. Everybody's been telling me I need to watch Mad Max. I know it.
Yeah.
What do you got for your 2016? We're getting down to the last 7 years.
Hacksaw Ridge.
Haven't seen it.
Okay. I don't want to go into it too much. I do want to mention that as far as like a war movie goes, phenomenal. It is so good. It has parts in it that will bring me to tears every single time, as well as because it is based on a true story, they have like live or not live, but they have like documentary interviews with the people that were there at the after the movies ended, like during the credits, and it is just it's a tearjerker every time.
Yeah, I really need to see it. My 2016 pick is a bit of a niche one. It was when I would say the company A24 really blew up onto the scene,
Yeah.
and that was with Moonlight, the controversial winner of that year's Oscars because it beat La La Land. I love Moonlight. Moonlight is the story of this boy, and it's told through three chapters of his life and the three nicknames that he has. And uh, this boy has to struggle in both departments while he's growing up in the 90s and in the early 2000s. He is in a very bad part of the hood. Um, he has to grow up being black in a place where that's not very accepted and being gay. So not being accepted by his the people that are there that they're supposed to be there for him because he's different in both ways. And it is such a beautiful movie. I think it's Mahershala Ali's best performance. It is such a great movie. It is so beautifully shot. There's this shot in the movie, and I'm getting emotional thinking about it. Mahershala Ali is like holding him when he's a kid. He's like swaying him in the water, and the camera is like in the water, like bobbing up and down, like the kid would be. Oh, it's so good. Um, I know you wanted me to pick La La Land. I know what that crying emoji means. You know I love La La Land. You know I do, but it's Moonlight. Um, my 2017. I'll let you go first because I guarantee you Lincoln will be able to guess my favorite film that came out.
Okay. For 2017, I'm just gonna use a quote to introduce it, and then you'll decipher it by then. Uh, just kill. Oh God, his name just slipped out of my mind. It's gone.
The quote's gone.
It's
You
gone. The
lost it
quote
that
was there.
quickly.
It was there. It's gone now. Uh, Damn, that's really unfortunate. Anyway, it's
Is it
Kingsman:
Get
The
Out?
Golden Circle.
Oh, it's oh was oh yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
So wow. Okay. Okay. So now I've got a question.
yeah.
You prefer the Golden Circle to the Secret Service?
I do not. I do like Secret
Okay.
Service more, but the Golden Circle is very good. I do see a lot of the like complaints where people are like, it changes so much, but I don't mind it.
I was trying to wait for Lincoln to guess my 2017 before I said it, but
Yeah.
I don't think he's going to be able to. Um Also, with the Golden Circle, what did you have for 20? You had Whiplash. So that's why the Secret
Yeah.
Service wasn't your.
Yeah.
Yeah, yep, Lincoln got it. My 2017 pick is Call Me by Your Name. My favorite romance movie of all time. Such a beautiful movie. I I have never seen a movie where the connection between two people works so well as it does in that movie. And it's you can feel everything. The way that Luca Guadagnino shot the movie. When people eat a peach, like you can taste it. It's weird to say that about a movie, but like it's just the audio, the visuals, it's all so crisp when they're walking like by this like you know how you like walk by a lake late at night, you know that lake smell you get. He
Yeah.
filmed it. You can feel that. You can feel that. It is just man, it's such a beautiful movie. Um if you don't say what I think you'll say, 2018, I'm gonna rage. I had 2018 was I will say that. I'll let you go first.
We're on 2018.
Yes.
It is Into the Spider-Verse.
Oh yeah, I forgot that came out.
Yeah. Like so, just like both of those movies, uh, are just phenomenal to me. But as an introduction to the like, I mean, it's a concept that's already been done, like in other Spider-Man like media. Like we had the original '90s cartoon was the first one to do it. Then we had the video game Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. It's been done before, but finally having a on-screen way that everybody can see it. It's a fantastic introduction to this concept and introduces so many interesting like characters that people may not have known about from the comics.
Yeah, Into the Spider-Verse is such an impressive feat of animation. I
Yeah.
completely agree with you. I wish it was one of my honorable mentions or my pick, but it isn't. My 2018, the three I had are three of my favorite movies of all time. So this was very hard for me. It was like choosing kids. Same with 2019. Those 2 years were really hard. My honorable mentions are Mission Impossible Fallout and Bad Times at the El Royale.
Which I forgot Bad Times at the El Royale came out that year, and it would have been on an honorable mention.
My number one is controversial, but it is my second favorite comic book movie of all time, and it is the only MCU movie I put on this list. It's Avengers Infinity War. Avengers Infinity War juggled so many different groups of characters so well. The villain is amazing. It's so good. That's a weird way. No, she's right. It's 8th grade. Man, she just like put paddles on my chest and like shocked me out of like
For
yeah, no,
2019 or
for 2018. I
2018?
forgot.
Okay.
I thought 8th grade was 20. I have it on my 2019 list. Is it 2018? Oh, it's 2018. I was wrong.
Oh.
Yeah, it's Bo Burnham's 8th grade. Oh my god, I completely forgot that came out that year. Wow, she actually saved me there. Well,
Huh.
not really, because I would still probably pick Infinity War, actually thinking about it, but 8th grade's a good second. 8th grade is, and 2018 is such a strong year.
Yeah.
Uh, do you want to go for 2019?
2019. I didn't have too many for 2019 to be completely honest, because I went through lists and I didn't see many that I've actually seen, so I just went with Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
I had 5.
You have 5? Okay. Okay.
I had 5. Yeah, and I picked 2. So my honorable mentions are The Irishman and The Lighthouse. I'm surprised you didn't have The Lighthouse as your honorable
Oh,
mention.
yeah, I forgot that too. And I haven't seen The Irishman just yet. I have it on my list. I'm supposed to watch it with Garrett at some point. I need to, but
Yeah,
we'll get
especially
there.
before that Scorsese podcast we're
Yeah,
having in November. Wink,
yeah.
wink.
I have like 4 Scorsese movies that are on that list that I have. Like Garrett and I made this list. I have to watch this with him. It has a Casino on it. It has The Irishman. There was something else. There were like 2 others I think, but I have to get through those before we get to that podcast.
Is After Hours on that list?
It is not. I
Then
haven't seen that one yet.
You watch After Hours with me.
Okay.
We watch After Hours. After Hours is so good. If Lincoln's here, I know he loves After Hours too. The 2 that I have tied are Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, Parasite. It would be a crime against God if I put any above Parasite, so I have to call it a tie. Because my personal preference and what's right are like completely clashing there.
Yeah.
Both are just so good. You gotta watch. Yeah, there's 2. You gotta watch After Hours. Yeah, Parasite is so good. 2020 was a year where I couldn't really find anything. I bet you we both had the same one.
Very likely.
2020 was just a dry year, as everybody knows. Everybody was
At home.
struggling with. Yeah, they all had a case of the gout. Was it? Was the
Something like
gout.
that.
So long ago.
I lost my left toe, so
Yeah, me too. There's a terrible year for gout.
yeah.
You have an honorable mention for 2020?
I do not.
Okay, I do. Lincoln's here. He knows. Rachel sent it. It's Shiva Baby.
Okay.
Shiva Baby's a great movie. You can say what is our number 1 for.
I mentioned it in our introductory episode 1, Tenet. The other night even I was watching a video and it had some, you know, those dumbass plastic tubes You like stretch
Mhm.
them out and it makes it. I heard somebody like stretch one of those and like they ran their finger across it. Sounded like one of the musical pieces from Tenet. And I was like, I'm being thrown back. It was there was something about the score in that movie where it sounds like it uses a lot of like very different ways of producing music. It doesn't use traditional instruments in a lot of ways, and I really love that, as well as like just the overarching arching story.
Yeah, Tenet is just it was a great welcome back to the movies.
Yeah,
I mean, it really was. It came out at a perfect time. Chris Nolan, perfect time for him to release that. Ah, man, such a good movie.
yeah. Plus the acting is phenomenal. It might be my favorite role for Robert Pattinson.
Yeah, I would probably say mine is either probably The Lighthouse, but no, it's up there for me. I love Neil.
Yeah.
I love Neil. Um, do you want to start 2021?
2021. I didn't have any honorable mentions.
Oh.
Yeah, I
Oh, well, yeah, right.
it's a bit surprising, but I didn't watch too many movies that year, I don't think. That was when I started going further back into watching older movies. Um, but this one I'll introduce with another quote. This one I can at least remember. Rats are the lowliest of all creatures. If they have purpose, so do we all.
You're gonna make me cry. Like, you're actually gonna make me cry. Man, Suicide Squad. I'm
Yep.
gonna have to put that as my number one. I don't have one highlighted here because the ones that I picked were just I wasn't sure yet. I'll say my honorable mentions in a second, but Suicide Squad is just
Jordan's
such
popping
a
off with
such a great
nobody in
movie.
chat real quick. I do want to acknowledge that that is an honorable mention that I forgot to list.
I see. John, my Dune, my Arrakis. Yeah, Dune is my honorable mention for 2021. I also have Licorice Pizza as my honorable mention for 2021. Another Paul Thomas Anderson movie. Really, really good. Got to see with Lincoln. Great movie. Great coming of age story. Suicide Squad is just, I would say, I don't know if you'll agree with me or not. This is just personal opinion. I'd say it's the greatest comic book film.
It might be. I have seen that movie at least 6 times now, maybe seven.
It's so rewatchable.
Yeah,
And it's so much fun. All the characters are likable.
yeah. And
It's
if you've seen
so
the
good.
movie and you didn't watch Peacemaker, get on it.
I need to get on it. I only got halfway through it. I need to finish it. Um, 2022.
All right. I will say for 2022, I do have 4 listings.
I have 6.
Okay. You go ahead first, and I'll just jump in if you have anything.
Okay. Yeah, I've got 6. 2022 was just the first year that I really, really. I've always been into movies. 2022, I was just like, it was the first year I really, really started exploring and seeing a lot of different things. So 2022, and especially 2023 now, with what I've seen this year, I've just seen so much in comparison to years past where I would just see, what was popular and things like that. I will preface that. Um, so I will just go through my honorable mentions first. The Batman,
That's on there for me.
honorable mention or your pick?
Honorable mention.
X, Nope. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once.
That's on there as an honorable mention as well.
Bodies, Bodies, Bodies. Those are my honorable mentions.
Okay. So we already had the Batman and Everywhere All at Once, which Everything Everywhere All at Once really struggled for first place for me. But my third is Bullet Train. Just an absolutely fun movie. Like if you haven't seen it yet, it's just so much fun to like sit down and watch. You'll laugh your ass off the entire time.
Bullet
And
Train is
then
great.
we both have the same number one, I'm assuming.
We definitely do. I just want to throw this out there before we say it. I would have 100% put Bullet Train as an honorable mention if I didn't already have 6.
That's fair.
Also, Bodies, 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 really underrated. Most underrated one that I said. Please watch it. It's so good. Um, Lincoln knows what's coming.
Yep.
I think everybody knows what's coming.
Yeah.
The Banshees of Inisherin. Oh man.
Just
What a
a
great
just a
film.
phenomenal movie. I need to watch it again, like I mentioned before, because like as you've mentioned, it creeps up on you. Like the first time, it's like the music's great. There's like this kind of hint at comedy that you're like, that's like bizarre but funny. But then like as you rewatch, you like it comes back more and more.
Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah, everybody's Banshee soundtrack, the theme played in my head. Um, I actually, it's funny you say that because I think we could have got away with like a 5-second blurb. My server's no longer boosted. I went in, I was gonna click the one that says, "Is Mike watching Banshees again?" And I was gonna let the 5-second thing play out, but it's not boosted, so I don't have that one.
Yeah.
Um, I'm moving to a new house and out from under my rock. I need to watch it again too. Mike made me watch it at 1 a.m. while I was half asleep. I did. I did. I watched Banshees like 5 times in the span of like 3 weeks. And I watched it the first time by myself at like 8 o'clock in the morning on a Monday. And I watched it. I was like, really good. The next night, it was like 1 in the morning. I just popped the disc in, and Sam was just like, I'm going to bed. I was like, like a gorilla. I was like, ooh. I was like, well, we watched
Neuron
this.
activation.
And yeah, I was like, whew. And then I watched it with Lincoln. I watched it with John. I watched it with the other John. I've watched it with you. I love the Banshees of Inisherin.
Yeah.
It is such a great. I have two for 2023. Do you have any for 2023?
I also have two for 2023.
Okay. You haven't seen either of mine. You go
Okay.
first.
So my honorable mention is John Wick Chapter 4,
Yeah.
and then my actual pick is Across the Spider-Verse.
I that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's a good pick. Um, my two. I haven't picked one yet. Because I don't know if I can. I need to see them both again, even though one of them I've already seen 3 or 4 times. Um, my two are Oppenheimer and Beau is Afraid, and it is very hard to pick between Oppenheimer and Oppenheimer and Beau is Afraid. It is. How was Spider-Man No Way Home not? Did I miss it? No Way Home was not on here. There's actually out of the two of us, I was the only one that put an MCU film, and I put in.
Yeah, I thought about putting one on there, but I couldn't find one that I truly felt really like broke through for me. There were definitely like some ones that I was like, I really enjoy that one, but it just doesn't scrape out at the end, you know?
No, I completely. Um, the only reason I put Infinity War was just how awesome of a comic book movie is. They're both so good. Yeah, Sam's seen both Oppenheimer and Beau. John says my favorite is Beau. You really got to see Beau is Afraid, Keegan. It
I need to
is
see
my
both
favorite.
of them. They're
Yeah, you do.
both like I need to watch them both.
Beau is Afraid is hands down Joaquin Phoenix's best movie. Joker's good, but I mean it's nothing compared to Beau is
Yeah.
Afraid. It's such a bizarre, weird little movie made by a little weirdo, Ari Aster. Um, this is a threat. See, Beau is Afraid.
I'm being threatened by chat. Okay.
So yeah, that about wraps it up. Almost right at an hour and a half.
Yep.
Um,
Um, I'm gonna throw in an honorable mention for Mike because he doesn't know it yet. But this isn't just a movie. We got to put Death Stranding in here. You've been on it.
oh my God, yeah, Death Stranding podcast is probably coming.
Yeah, we'll probably
Death
be doing
Stranding.
a Death Stranding podcast. So
We got a question in the chat. What are you excited for next year? Like 2024? Um, I gotta look up a thing real quick. I'll answer that. Are you okay with answering that, Keegan?
I don't have anything
For
that I
like a
can think of for 2024 just yet.
movie wise, no. Okay. With the writers' strike, I am a little. You know, there's a Lord of the Rings movie coming out. Did you know that?
There's a what?
Lord of the Rings movie.
No,
You
I
know that?
didn't.
There
If
is.
it's
It's called
anything
the.
like Rings of Power, that's concerning.
Yeah. 2024. Um. So, I would say Beetlejuice 2. I'm just a little bit nervous because he's putting the girl from Wednesday in it. Um.
Jenna Ortega?
That, yeah, Jenna Ortega, and that I don't know. Beetlejuice was my 88 pick. I love Beetlejuice. I am optimistic for it. I'm not excited. I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
But for 2024 for movies, I'm gonna have to say Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Because that whole run of the new Planet of the Apes movies, they're all incredible. I haven't seen Dead Reckoning Part 2 yet, or Part 1, sorry. I'm excited for Part 2. I need to see Part 1. I missed it in the theater. I really need to see it.
Yeah.
Borderlands is coming out next year. I'm not excited for that, but
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a new Alien coming out next year.
Okay.
I am optimistic for the new Transformers movie coming out next. Transformers 1. It's got John Hamm, Lawrence Fishburne, Keegan-Michael Key, Scarlett Johansson, and Chris Hemsworth. And I think that's about all I'm excited for, honestly. I mean, there's some A24 stuff that's kind of niche that I'm excited for that I don't want to like spend too much time. Deadpool 3, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. Is there anything that you're excited for at all, Keegan?
Not that I can think of, not for movies or anything like that off the top of my head. I will put out there real quick. We don't know when it's going to happen, but Keanu Reeves is confirmed for Death Stranding 2.
Yes. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. You don't have to do me like that.
What is this?
You do not have to do me like that.
Yeah.
I may have let some tears fly.
During some Transformers, huh?
Yeah, a little bit. Okay, got me a little bit. There's a sequel to Passion of the Christ coming out next year. I just had to mention that.
Okay.
I don't know why. I just saw it on this list and I was like, heck. Okay. So,
Yeah.
Our next podcast that we're going to be doing next Wednesday, right? Not this Wednesday, but next, or is it this Wednesday?
Not this Wednesday, the one following,
Yes,
so
yes,
2 weeks from now.
Well, kind of 2 weeks.
Not really
it's a
2 weeks,
week
but...
and 3 days.
Yeah.
So that's confusing.
10 days.
It's fine. 10 days. There you go. Thank you. In 10 days, we're going to be covering the second half of Attack on Titan Season 1, maybe a little bit of Season 2.
We'll see how far we get.
And before we end this stream, I got to fuck Keegan over real quick.
What's going on?
You haven't noticed it yet.
What?
I redeemed some points.
Ah, I see. Okay. All right. You've chosen to pick a game for a future stream.
Yeah. Yeah, first one to redeem it. Haven't picked a game yet. I just wanted to do that before we ended the stream.
All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching.
Yeah. You guys have been absolutely wonderful.
Yes.
We are trying to be a little bit more interactive with chat. The past couple, we've been a little bit more. Yeah, we'll pick out a few things here and there, but I do like, you know, seeing what you guys are saying, as well as like when you agree with us, or if you want to share an opinion, we can definitely pull that in. You know, have a comment and chat about that.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are amazing. This podcast is so fun to do. I enjoy myself every single time we do it. It is so much fun.
Yeah, and chat's over here just making me crack up. You're talking, I'm reading chat, and I'm just trying not to laugh too hard.
Yeah, same here. No, same here. I completely agree. It's just, man, it's awesome. We're very lucky to be able to have a chat like you guys and to be able to do this show for you guys. It's awesome.
And another quick thank you to Papa Fish for the Prime and the follow. That is awesome. That is just, you know, couldn't be more thankful, really.
Yes, thank you to all of the new followers, all the new chatters. Thank you guys for stopping in.
All right, we are
Toast.
going to see you guys 2 Wednesdays from now.
Yes. It's 10 days.
Yep, 10 days. Set your calendars, synchronize your watches. But we will see you guys in the next one. You guys all have a great night, and take care.